Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first live as the Soul Yum team. We're very excited to join you today and share with you what we're creating here, what we plan to bring to you. We plan to have a lot of fun, share a lot of amazing information and connection and conversations, and bring in some amazing guests. There's a lot to it, but as we go into it, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're just going to not be boring, not say the same old shit. Just be ourselves and really have a lot of fun being authentic and connecting with you. We really want to have an interactive experience with you where you interact, you get on, you comment, you share, you like. So if you want to get this out and help us get it out, we would love it if you would go in and just share this on your page, like it, comment on it, and with your comments specifically, we would love to be able to interact with you on this live. So if you can go to our Soul Yum page, we're going to be sharing this to our personal pages as well. So you may be watching from there. And this is a combination, whole new platform we're taking where we're doing a show podcast combo. We're going to be converting these live videos into a podcast as well, so that no matter what platform you prefer to listen from or connect from, you're going to be able to participate from that angle. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you're really going to enjoy this. But be sure, if you want to comment and interact with us, which we would really like, go to our Soul Yum page and comment from there so that we can have them be a part of the Soul Live show and interact with you live. So without further ado, we've got, obviously, Diana. I'm going to get my left hand, right hand. The camera's backwards. So we got Diana to one side of me. We've got Megan to the other side. We've come together as a team because we've really enjoyed the conversations we've been having with each other. We realized that our network of people that we could bring to the table to help serve you and bring their genius and their gifts to you is just tremendous. So we're very excited to bring this to you. And without further ado, I'd love to hear from you two ladies. And I'm going to hop on real quick and share to my personal page so that we make sure that everyone can see this.
Awesome. You want to go first, Miss Megan?
I'm just super excited to be here, to connect with all you amazing people, weekly, every single week, to be able to just create amazing connection and dialogue and, build such a beautiful community and tribe together, and to be doing it with two people that I absolutely love. Of course, my beloved Christopher John and, oh my gosh, my goddess soul sister, Diana. Oh, it's been such a treat. It's been amazing creation that has, that's come forth. And everything that we bring, everything that we're about to bring, like, we're so excited. It's really our Soul Yum, and that's, we're going to go into like how this was created. But one of the things too that we want everyone to, like, we're coming to you live. We're coming to you like in our truest forms, in our authentic self. Like, as you know, right now I am nursing my 2-month-old baby. So I will be here with you, and yeah, there'll be times where I'll be like, oh, I got to get the baby. Like, he's right here with us, because that's how we're committed to living our life, by doing what we absolutely love, serving the world, bringing our gifts, our talents to everyone, and living our Soul Yum. And for us, like, we're the show is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because like we like living life where we have like a 3-day work week, like, and really it's not work, because everything we do is play. Like, work, we just throw that out. Like, we just toss that out. We're all about play, and that's what we want to bring in all these amazing conversation, is the playfulness, this whole new way of being. And so we come as we are, full in our authenticity, full in our hearts of like, this is where we are, whether that's in our joy or whether that's in our, in our low points, those times that where we aren't, sometimes we may be in our shit. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, here we are. This is where we're at. And how can we play with this even? And yeah, so that's what you can kind of expect. Here's little beautiful baby. So he may jump in at certain points. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you, Diana.
I love that. That's soul yummy. So it's such a joy and such an honor. I want to share a little background. I live a full soul-aligned, soul-guided life, and I have not always. I was I call myself like this spiritual, skeptical atheist of sorts. I'm this recovered psychotherapist who doesn't rock that way anymore. And when I woke up spiritually, it was through the quantum field, and it was all about accessing play through the field of our heart and that playing with patterns. And so when I shared this with Megan, she was like, what? Playing with patterns? Yes. And we just freaked out. We were like, this is soul yummy. Like literally every word that you can say so with, we are saying soul. And it just started this whole deliciousness. And part of my yum was following this guidance that showed up for me 2 months ago to the day. I was woken up at 5:30 a.m. and was basically told to write this Huffington Post article. And Christopher is one of the 10 amazing heart-centered conscious male leader entrepreneurs that I discovered through the grace of God, of the universe, of whatever that is for you. And that's what I really want to share, is that for me, it's not about what we call this higher power. It is about knowing that we access it through our heart, through play, through what feels freaking yummy to you. And my passion is to help people find what their soul yum is, right? And their authentic expression. And like, it's not going to look like, I hope it doesn't look like what it looks like for me, because I'm me, right? And you're you. And so it was so cool to come together with Christopher and to just like, immediately it was a soul click. And so I had been wanting to do Conscious Conversations show. He had been wanting to do a Conscious Conversations show. Megan got on board and was like, oh my God. And it just, for me, this soul yum, the way we came together, and we're going to share more about this, but was like such a heck yes. It was such a full body for me. And it was so important that we bring people in. And so part of with this interview I did for the article, I interviewed 10 men and I got on like this with each of them. And everyone showed up and took 30 to 60 minutes of their precious time and talked to me. And during it, I was like, oh my God, people need to see this. This isn't fair to hide this deliciousness from the world. And every person in that article I connected with like this. And so many of them are going to be, if not all of them, featured on this show at some point. And so for me, that's just super soul yum. And I'll let Christopher share some more because he's got some juiciness I can feel. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Megan. So yeah, it's come together really magically. And we've had a really fun time connecting on this. And when we talk about the authenticity piece, I think it's really important that we just speak to what that means for us. So one of the things Diana and I discussed on that initial interview was how authenticity is ever evolving. It's as we discover who we are, what was authentic for me yesterday may not be true for me today based on whatever breakthroughs and new insights and whatever version of myself I've expanded into since then. And so authenticity is really checking in moment to moment to moment. You know, if I were to be authentic about where I'm at right now, I felt frazzled just before this call. I'm just starting to kind of settle in right now. Just a little bit anxious about this first call. I'm very excited about what we're bringing to you and doing here and co-creating here. And, you know, we're in the middle of a process of building our new home. And we were out there and meeting with the builders. And I was trying to get out of there and meet all their needs and then get here to the show. And so then we sit down here and I notice this kind of the energy of like, okay, first time. And there's the logistics of running the back end of the show and sharing things and coordinating and all the logistics of that. And then when I look at that, I look down at my logistics and then I look at my camera and I look kind of funny. And so then I'm like, no, I really want to look and feel like people, like they can engage with me. And so that's what I'm dancing with right now, just as a version of what I mean by authenticity. Like, here's our baby, here's us. We're going to drink our tea, drink our water, be ourselves. And rather than like this formal thing, like, okay, I got to get up here in my teacher persona and teach you some smart shit. You know, if we're going to swear, we're going to swear. If we're going to, and we don't want this to be a boring old teach you smart shit, you know, more information. We want this to be a connection.
Mm-hmm.
We want this to be like edifying and entertaining and educational and empowering, yet connected. So yeah, Megan, Diana, anything you would add to any of that?
Yeah, so like just look forward to lots of yummy treats that we're going to be bringing into the show. Just new surprises and new elements, new ways of being. Like, we're really wanting to make this a really playful time and interaction. And my intention is that like you walk away feeling totally uplifted. Your vibration has literally like raised by us, by like connecting with us. Like, we want you to engage with us. Say hello, say where you're from, ask questions. Like, we really want to feel like you guys are right here with us, you know, in this conversation. And this is kind of how it started, is like, we came together and we're like, we just want to connect. Like, we want to have these awesome conversations, right? Not just like the surface level and like, oh yeah, how's the weather? Or, you know, those things. Like, no, we love having these amazing conversations and like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing and this is what I'm learning. And, oh, did you hear about this? And then, oh, dance break, by the way, like, okay, let's throw in some moves. Like, let's move our bodies. Like, let's get into our bodies. Let's get into our hearts. Let's get connected. And so yeah, like, that's like what we're wanting to bring. And it started like, we, like, everything that we do in our life, like, we want to do it whether we got paid or not. Like, we want to do the things that we would love. Like this, like, when we get on a call together, like us three, and we start like creating, right, and collaborating, and we're like, yeah, like, we could just do this all day long. Like, we do this because we love it. And so we're just connecting, and we're like, ooh, what about this and that? Or, hey, like, even if there's something that's up for us, like, hey, like, yeah, this is what showed up today for me. Oh, I feel a little silly, or I feel scared. Like, you know, this fear is showing up, and we're like, wow, that's really interesting. And like, we just have these amazing connection and dialogues. And like, that's something that we want to bring to you guys, that it can feel like you're coming into a part of our world. We're sitting down together with our tea or with our, you know, our water or whatever. And we're like, okay, like, let's have some awesome, meaningful, conscious, epic conversations with each other, all while expanding, learning, growing, and raising our vibration within ourselves, so that we can raise the vibration in this planet and really ascend together in the most fun, easy, joyous, graceful, and playful of ways.
Soul, yes, girl. Well, we haven't even mentioned the guest piece. So today we're playing with three of us because we wanted to come on and share like what is Soul Yum and say hi. And, you know, again, if you are viewing from anywhere but the Soul Yum page, we're not seeing your comments, and we want to. We love interaction. We want you to come play with us. So I think how it rolls is you click the video and then you should get to the page. Yeah? Let me know, guys, in the comments. Yes, awesome. That's so well timed. Thanks, Christopher. And thanks, is it Tiara? What a beautiful name. So yeah, the Soul Yum is what to me, this whole authenticity and sharing the behind the scenes, like that piece of we play, we come together, and from play, that's where we create through our imagination, through our heart. And it opens portals to the biggest yumminess beyond what you could even think. So it's like moving from the head to the heart. So getting out of this try and force and hustle and struggle and moving into what freaking feels good to you, what through your heart, through your soul, and getting that connection in. And I'm so inspired to bring this consciousness of heart consciousness to the world in a way that isn't so, let's just say, I'm going to throw it out there, woo-woo. And there's nothing wrong with woo. But I will tell you, quantum physics to me is like the least woo thing. It's like, no, that's actually the world we live in. And so when I talk about accessing our heart, I am talking powerfully about torsion fields of the heart and the torus fields, right? That we access not even through the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is awesome too, but that it's about actually accessing through our heart this quantum field where we can change everything, where we access magic. And there's going to be a lot in future shows we're going to talk about with this. I have lived with chronic illness and recovered from things people don't recover from. And I know Megan's got some stories around that. And so for me, this is where I don't ask anyone to believe anything they haven't experienced, but I totally want to open possibilities for you to step into that, because that has been my path, has been asking and then being shown epic miracles that I still go, what? Like, huh? And I don't know how I have any doubt based on the gorgeous miracles that and magic that shows up in my life. And so that's part of just my super soul yum, is to help really open this conversation and bring on really fun guests who are just cutting edge and leading this new consciousness and new paradigm of I'm feeling you guys about kind of jumping into the spiritual bypass and shadow thing. How's that feeling for you?
Yes, just real quick. I'm hearing myself. I'm just like loving seeing everybody comment. Thank you guys. Like, keep on commenting. Like, I'm like, you know, I see hello from New York and yes, so yum. Like, I just love it. Can't wait to learn like so much from you guys. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm just seeing all this come in, and like, I'm like, oh yes. Like, when I see these comments and you guys engaging, this is like so yummy. So I just keep on having it come, keep sharing, and yeah, let's dive into that.
Well, I'm feeling I want to hear more from Christopher first, and then I will. I just
awesome.
love the interplay and the dynamic and like learning to navigate these beautiful waves of yum and just being all organic. So that's what's emerging for me. That's my truth right now.
Yes, thank you. And loving all these comments. Thank you, everybody. And would love suggestions and questions and to have the love you just acknowledging us and that too. And as we get further into the show and we start to bring on guests, because we're planning on bringing really high profile guests. Like I intend to get Gay and Katie Hendricks on. Like, we've got access to potentially Deepak Chopra. We're talking some really high level people that we're going to be accessing, and people. Basically, one of our intentions for this show is to speak to people that we would be like, so I've been in this industry for a long time. I've dealt with a lot of big players. I rubbed shoulders with some of the best in the business, and so did these Diana and Megan. And so when we're having these conversations and bringing these guests in, we plan on like conversing up, or like, not that we're all not equals, because we're all equals, but I don't want to just have anybody and everybody on the show. I want whoever we choose to be on the show to be like, heck yeah, I would freaking love to have that conversation with that person. Like I would have that conversation with that person, whether anyone was watching or not, whether anything else happened, just for the sake of having that conversation. And then we just had the thought, you know, if others could be a fly on the wall on that quality of conversation with those quality of people who have gone before us and accomplished such tremendous things, I just think there's priceless value to be had in that.
Thank you, Lila. Love you, beauty. She says, love the ideas of interviews. So glad there is now an authentic outlet. That's such a cool way to put it, because, you know, often authenticity gets this bad rap. I hear people say things like, well, I don't like the word authentic, or I don't like the word conscious. I'm like, okay, we are going to redefine these words, because to simply not like a word because some people use it in a buzzwordy way, that is not soul yummy. And I get that it's like there's a lot of soul yuck out there. So that's the kind of stuff that I know I want to dive into and really talk about. Kind of like, how can we have a conscious language conversation without being an asshole? Because that's been one of my edges where I'm like, the word should, you guys, is so low consciousness. And I'll tell you why I don't like should, because it's shitty and shamey. And my background in therapy, all I've seen is people come in with these shoulds and these like, it's like agenda based and like what other people say you should do. And I'm like, let's give people options. So how about an offering rather than you should? And yet, I'm going to tell you guys something. I live in Northern California, like a few miles from the crazy wildfires. And I was so humbled. I was locked in my house for 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, you should probably fucking leave the house if it's on fire. And I was like, got it. There could be a good should out there. So part of this is like, how do we all edify ourselves? How can I be humbled and a total freaking genius at what I'm a genius at and help empower you all to tap into your genius and to dispel these myths of like, well, I can't claim my worth because then I'm in my ego. BS. This is a whole new way of looking at things. And I know the three of us have just come together in a way where when I speak, Christopher's like, it's like I could have said that. And then Megan, and same thing. And I say the same thing to them. And we're like, what? The world needs this. This is so cool. And it's like, my whole thing is, again, it's like, even if you hear what I'm saying and you hate it, awesome, because then you're finding your truth. Like, your truth doesn't have to be my truth, but if I bug you, then you don't have to watch me. Cool, but I know there's a lot of people who want to. So that's like been my edge, just like stepping away from being a total freaking people pleaser and doing what I thought everyone should, I should do. I rebelled against it, right? We teach what we're learning. So that's for me, like, along with like spiritual bypass and these topics are just, they're so yummy for me because I've done them. So I speak from a place of deep experience and humility of like what I was such a spiritual bypasser and I was such a lurk in the shadow victim queen. Like, no, you're doing it to me. Like, no, you're not doing it. Like, things can happen to us, but we get to powerfully choose how we show up. And so these are the kind of topics that I'm like, I could talk about and do all day on my own lives, but this feels so much more yummy to connect with guests and with Megan and Christopher and with all you guys. So yeah, that's what's bursting from me authentically.
Thank you, Diana. And I really want to share, I started in the coaching industry, dropped everything else in my world 11 years ago and became full-time coach. And so I've been in the field for a long time. I've been on Facebook for a long time. And back then, I was the weirdo, like the shirtless dancer. No one else was talking, and everyone was kind of pointing and laughing at me, like, look at that weirdo saying weird shit. And then it evolved to where I felt Facebook famous. Like I had thousands and thousands of followers and so many people just really appreciating me and singing my praises for what I had been able to help them accomplish in their lives. And then now there's been a more recent phase where I feel like frustrated. Like I don't even want to speak on Facebook anymore because there's so many voices out there. There's so many people claiming to be authorities, so many people claiming to be experts and gurus and coaches, and everyone's putting out these images. And, there's so much going on that half the time I don't even want to talk anymore. And so, but I was like, man, I want to keep reaching my people. I want to make a difference. I want to keep making my contribution. I want to share my voice and the insights from all the success I've been able to create and all that I've been able to overcome in my life. But I don't want to just be part of the white noise. I don't just want to be a voice in a sea of voices that are all shouting from the rooftops all this stuff, and half of the stuff is just parroted from somebody attended a workshop and repeat the shit that someone else told them because it sounds cool and it rhymes and whatever. And I'm like, no, I want legitimate, real information. I want truly authentic. Like, let's learn in public. That's one of the things Diana and Meg and I are committed to, is not getting our shit together and then coming and presenting to you like, yeah, we got our shit together. We made our perfect life. You can too, right? No, like we want to be us. We want to have fucking awesome conversations where we can be ourselves and bring you the latest and greatest cutting edge technologies of not physical things, but psychological and emotional technologies and emotional intelligence and approach real life topics that, I get frustrated too, because Facebook tends to be this fight back and forth, people arguing this position and that position. I'm like, fucking A, can we bring in some new perspective end the war and actually have conversations that matter, that truly make a difference and can help us create a new result as a human race.
It's like a triple yes for me. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And there's tons of, thank you, Valerie. You're so sweet. There's tons of awesome comments I'm seeing on the back end coming through that are just, thank you guys for commenting. Drop hearts. Please share this out because we do want to reach a lot of people. And I love what you're saying, Christopher, because, you know, often I see people and it's so disappointing to me that we'll be quoting someone else, but you can't even tell it's not their voice at first. And then there's the person's name at the end. And like, could you say up front, like written by so-and-so, so at least know I'm seated that that's not your voice? Like that to me is just integrity. And like, I get that not everyone's doing that out of malice. And so I want to point these things out. This is like I was saying in a way of like, how can I not be the consciousness police and be this a-hole, but also be like, hey guys, like there's a reason it's important to credit people or be clear. And also I want to hear what you have to say. And if you're sharing someone else's voice, awesome, but like tag them up front so we know it's their voice. And then like, rad, I love that you're sharing them. And I want to know, like take it a step further. What's your contribution on that? Even if it's just something small, you know, because I talk a lot about, there are people that are like, everyone needs to be speaking about these things. I'm like, no, everyone does not. You need to show up in the way that feels authentic to you. And if that is supporting someone that has a big voice, do not underestimate that. Because I feel like there's this bullying, shamey shit that happens where it's almost like if you're not speaking to this issue in this way, you're wrong. And it's like, whoa, hold up there. Like, that does not rock and roll for me. That to me is a soul yuck. And what a soul yum would be, just to, you know, see the consciousness of the soul yum, would be you tuning into your truth and going, wow, I don't know why I'm feeling this, but here's my vulnerable truth. And sharing that, I have way more interest in reading about that than some polished bullshit coaching pitch or like, you can do it because I did too. I throw up a little bit in my mouth every time I hear it done in a way that's so inauthentic. It's like, just because you did it actually doesn't mean I can, or just because I did it doesn't mean you can. That is so boiled down, and that's where it's like, I love that this is coming up because it's like the passion, the distinction. It's like really raising the bar, and that I think also is why we're like really wanting to have people on this show that have just a different voice and aren't in this sort of same echo chamber that a lot of us are used to seeing, and really getting wide exposure to open this awesome conversation. I'm gonna drop the mic right now, right? So that's my soapbox.
Love it, Diana. I freaking love our conversations. Megan, anything coming through you? I got some stuff, but wanting to hear from you if you got stuff you want to share right now.
No, not necessarily. Just at some point, love to share a little bit to how Soul Yum kind of came through and was created.
Do that now.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, like again, back to what I was saying before, where like, yeah, we just want to have these, like we would have these conversations whether anybody joined us or not, right? Like just because it's so yummy and it's so fulfilling. And so we started out and we're like, yeah, we want to have these conscious conversations. And so that's what it was going to be. Like, this was going to be conscious conversations. And so we started out and we're like, okay, like, and it was getting really, really structured and like, okay, it needs to look this way and all that. And something was like feeling off, right? And we're going to talk about this, like, what's your soul yum? Like, how does it live? What is it like to live in your soul yum? And so like something was feeling off, and immediately, like, I can feel it in my body. Like my body, like your body, everybody is like speaking to you in every single moment. And it's like, are you listening? Are you listening? And so like something was feeling off. And also like, I'm getting really, really like clear on like my hell yeses and like, what's a fuck no for me? Because my world has been completely changed within the last couple months. Like I have an infant, I have like a little baby with me that's like wanting, and I want to just be with him. I want to like, just look at this little guy all day long. And then we also have a teen in our house now. Like this is totally new. Like my stepdaughter, my husband's 14-year-old moved in with us. So like all these new changes in my world. It's blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, whole new game. And like, yeah, that can be a whole nother fun conversation we can go into. But so I'm getting like very clear. I'm like, I'm like deleting things. I'm delegating things, like anything that doesn't feel so yes in my world, because my time is very, very, very valuable. And so anyway, so like I'm checking in. I'm like, hey, something doesn't feel yummy. And so I voiced that, right? Like, so then Diana and I were like, hey, let's have some goddess time. Let's connect. And because like we hadn't even had much connection with just us, right? So we get on the phone and I'm like, hey, like I get to speak to what I'm noticing. Like I'm feeling constricted here, and like this is what I want. This is what I'm choosing to create. And like in my world, I'm only interested in doing the things that I absolutely love. And I'm only interested in doing the things that feel so expansive to me. Like if it doesn't, like what else is possible? Because I don't have to do it that way. So what else can we do? What else can we create? Like where everything just feels so yummy. Like who is it that we can delegate to do this, or the things that we don't love to do? And so we're talking and we're just like, as we're speaking, like our energy just feels like it's getting like more light and yummy, and we're just dialoguing and we're like, this is what we want all the time. Like this awesome conversation, like what we're experiencing right now, where it's bringing more aliveness to ourselves and to our body. And so through that too, all this yumminess was like these just like what we call like, what did you name it, Diana?
Oh,
these light
truth bulbs.
Truth bulbs. She's like, there's a truth bulb, and we're like, oh, and so everything that's coming through, like we're just like having all these like nuggets, golden nuggets come through this yumminess that we're creating. And we're like, oh, that's it. Like, oh, and that's it. And like, it was just so easy. And that's what it gets to be like too. Like, I'm like, this gets to be so yummy. Like in my world too, like if there's constriction, I'm like, okay, something's off. Like, okay, what else? Like in our house, in our build, the same thing. Like 2 months ago, we were ready to like rock and roll. And then there were some things and I'm like, okay, this is not. And now everything is like landing in place. Everything's being so easy. It's actually like working for me. And that's the magic. Like we'll go into that when like life, when you get into such a state of being where like everything's just working on your behalf and you're like, oh, this is so awesome. This is so yummy. And you're just continually raising your vibration and working at that level. Oh, juicy yumminess. And so anyways, everything was coming through. And then Diana was like, this is like soul yum. And then when she said soul yum, I was like, oh yes. Like, yes. And you know, I do the goddess experience and we talk about goddess style. Like we live like, you know, doing things in goddess style, which is also about like soul yum. Like it's honoring that part of you in every single moment, following your heart, following your bliss, following your joy. I'm like, okay, this is so freaking yummy. Like this is what I'm like, I'll do this all day long. Okay. Sign me up. And that's what I'm interested in. And that's like kind of how, and then we came back to Christopher and Christopher's like, yes, yes, yes. Like everything lit up in all of us. It was like, this is what it gets to look like. And like, and beyond just like conscious conversations, which we're like, yeah, we're going to redefine what that looks like. But like, we want play. We want connection. We want these amazing, edgy, expansive conversations. Like we want to communicate and connect in a whole new way. And ideally, like we love to connect in person, but when we can't be in person, like how can we experience and have an amazing connection through online? Like here, like right now, I just kind of want to jump in and like squeeze you all. And I loving all your comments. Like I'm like, oh, I love you, I see you. Oh yeah, Nora, I love you, girl. Oh yeah, Valerie, I see you. So it's just so yummy, and I can feel you guys here, and I can feel you guys. I can feel it. That's what I want. And so that's kind of how everything came through. And then it was just like, oh, and this, and anything that you, Diana, want to add, they of you. It was just everything landed, and we're like, yes, this is how it gets to be. Soul yum. Soul yum.
Diana, you want to go or do you want me to? FX share, baby.
You go.
All right. So,
and yeah, Megan, mwah, love.
So my intention for you, the viewers, what I would love, like, we don't want this to be just yeah, we randomly do a Facebook Live. Literally, we have scheduled these calls at a set time, same time, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 Mountain, 12 Central, 1 Eastern, and if you're beyond that range, you get to calculate it on your own. So every single week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we may choose to renegotiate that occasionally, or maybe if I need to be somewhere, these two will roll without me. And a good portion of the time we'll have guests on as we feel it will best serve you and serve us, and that all that works out. So we'll have these powerful guests. You'll have a blast just with us three. You'll have a blast when we invite others on. But we're going to make it powerful. We're going to make it edifying. We're going to make it educational and empowering. But we're also going to make it entertaining and fun and connective. With that being said, my intention for you, the viewers, like, I would love to see you as regular viewers. Like, there's a lot of TV shows and, you know, the morning show and The View and all these things where people get on and they talk and they can be entertaining. And what I'd love to do is be every bit as entertaining, if not more, substantially more authentic and raw and real. Kind of like the feel of reality TV, but actually reality from a consciousness perspective, and bring in a completely new view and perspective to real world topics. Like, there's lots of stuff going on in the world right now, and we have people just kind of arguing back and forth, and it gets so crazy. I'm like, please stop. Holy shit. It reminds me of being a child and having dysfunctional parents and wishing there would be a voice of reason in the midst of all of that. And so my intention is that we can help be that voice of reason and bring in other voices of reason that will generate new solutions. And I want you guys to be a part of it consistently. I want you guys to be placing your voice in, that this isn't a monologue of us speaking to you. This is a dialogue of us speaking with each other, speaking with you, speaking with our guests on the show, and bringing all of that just live and raw and real and very, very relevant to ultimately helping you create a soul yum life, right? That everything that you experience, what my intention and hope for you, the viewers, is that as you choose to view us regularly, that you pick up insights and perspectives and just energy and a mood and an attitude that uplifts your day, that this would become a part of your routine that would say, yeah, I'm setting aside time to have this awesome show bless my life. And that as a result of you showing up and connecting with us consistently and interacting and participating and receiving what we're bringing to you, that your life is edified, that you, and all of this for free. Like, we're going to be bringing the top-notch conversations in all the world from the foremost conscious leaders, not just people that proclaim to be leaders, not just people that are like, yeah, I'm badass, buy my shit, but people that are truly integrated, that light us up, that energetically when we try it on, we're like, hell yeah, I want to talk with that person, right? And that you get to be a part of that. And that as a result of showing up consistently to participate in this experience, that your life is edified every single day, that your spirit and your mood and your attitude is uplifted, that you find and discover your voice, your authentic voice and expression in the world every single day a little more as a result of participating in this, that you discover deeper and deeper truths and insights about how you would create your world to be a true soul yum, meaning that you only do what is 100% a full body yes in every aspect of your life, in your work, in your relationship, in your sex life, in your parenting, and in your finances, and everything that you choose to do in your world, that truly, as a result of being here with us consistently, that your whole life will reform into the absolute best life you could possibly have, that you could say, yes, I live a soul yum life. That's my intention and hope and prayer for all of you who choose to join us on this journey on an ongoing basis.
I love it so much, and I want to speak to what you're doing, and what we want all you viewers to do is Christopher's really seeding, and Megan and myself, we're seeding the consciousness of what we want to create. We're doing it live with you guys. We're not scripted. We don't have there's the option, right? We can have an agenda on Be Live, and we're like, we're just rolling today. And some days we're going to have stuff in there so we can pop it up. But the idea of being so free flowing and seeding this consciousness in this yummy organic way, I want to make it really overt. This is what's emerging from within us, right? When you tune in and you go direct and you access your own information, and that is my intention always, is to help others, anyone who resonates, access your own truth. Not to parrot mine. It doesn't mean that what I say or what Christopher says or what Megan says or our guest experts say isn't awesome and relevant. But always, 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 and I know you guys agree with me on this, tune in. How is this true for me, right? This is the question we ask. What's true about this? What's soul yummy about this? How does this actually raise my consciousness? Or if it doesn't, then it's like, all right, take a step back and take a look at it. But it's about becoming more curious, more in response rather than reaction, right? That's where we become creators rather than bumbling around being at the effect of everything, right? You become at cause, and you get to see the consciousness of this with us. And that's kind of my long-winded way of inviting you in to really, as Christopher has and as Megan has, to show up as who you are and be, and to be authentic and be vulnerable, to take a risk. Because I will tell you this, every time, and I do not say always, nevers, everys very often. When I do, I powerfully stand behind it. Every freaking time that I show up powerfully and take a risk, and you guys, I'm a shy introvert, I swear. No one believes me because I also have all this like yummy, connective, juicy energy, but like you get me on a stage and I want to cry. And I know I have TEDx talks and TED Talks and delicious speaking in my future. And I want to like curl under the bed right now and cry when I think about it. And yet that's why I show up. And it's the way I got past my nervousness. And I share this too, because I know a lot of people project like, oh, well, she can do it, I can't. And right, this isn't the cheesy, if I can, you can. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to be really open with, this has not been easy for me. It wasn't natural. I felt so judged and so ashamed. My patterns have been around clearing shame around shame, not just shame. I felt shame for fucking feeling shame. That is like 10 more levels of fucked up. It's so deep, right? Yeah, of course, I became a therapist and I learned how to navigate my psyche. But it wasn't even from that. It was really through a lot of reaching beyond the box, personal development, quantum deliciousness, this kind of just showing up and being who I am, and knowing that every time I leapt, I was caught. And that if I did fall on my face, there was tons of people there loving me, supporting me, that there was angels around me, it's just changed my whole freaking life. And so that is my promise to you, that when you show up powerfully and you act in alignment, magic happens. And here's the other thing, that soul alignment isn't always unicorns and rainbows. It's not always what your personality self wants. So I just commit to fully, I'm devoted to showing up and being who I am and sharing the real rawness, and sharing that this is, there's often been a voice that even as I would get up and speak would be like the shamey voice. Like even when I'd share about healing, the shamey voice, it would be there. Like everyone's judging you. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So then I started writing about it and being like, well, okay, maybe it's not about annihilating this voice or this ego. It's about integrating it. It's about saying, all right, my love, like you're here for a purpose, right? Because we have these voices because at some point it was a protection. And so how do you honor these parts and let them know, like, baby girl, you're beautiful. Like, it's okay, the part that felt that, right? Going in and healing that part in a way that just shifts it like that. And then we do that over and over again, right? Lots of layers. And I've come to know there's no center to that onion. You keep peeling, you're going to keep peeling. So at some point, it's like, how can I, quote, heal enough to just take my next step that's in soul alignment? And that is how I powerfully show up. And that's my commitment. I promise to all of you that I'll keep doing that, and I'll keep sharing even when it's really hard to do.
So as Diana was speaking, I was just reminded of what we've experienced for the last few months as we've been designing this show, is that a lot of times after being in this industry for so many years, studying with so many of the greats, then there's this experience of like, okay, yeah, that what you said was pretty cool, but it was a little off, or like, yeah, I'm a little bored because I've heard that shit 1,000 times. And what I love about being in conversation, of course, Megan and I are on the same page and having these deep, amazing conversations and always exploring ever further into our consciousness and our perspective and our viewpoints and our experience. But with Diana, bringing her in, it's been so awesome because when she speaks, I actually enjoy it. Like, I go, yeah, like, I actually would most of the time I'm like, no, I'd be better if I was saying this because this person's kind of, you know, slicing this up or not delivering it the best way that it could be delivered. And with Diana, I actually have this experience of like, yeah, please talk. Let me sit back and just sip my drink and just relax and know that things are going to be done right, that everything that she shares is so beautiful and so aligned and so integrated. It's not just, you know, the average shit that you hear out there. So thank you, Diana, for bringing your awesomeness to the table.
Thank you so much. That lights me up. That is such a beautiful heart acknowledgement, and I love it. And, you know, I want to share something vulnerable too, because I feel like it is so important we model this. That the other day I told Megan and Christopher, I like got all excited and like did a pre-launch post and we were going to do one together. And I was like, you guys, I didn't know if I should, right? I let a should come in, if I should post it, because I wanted to be so respectful of this container. But I was getting this soul call of like, now I have this, I like to post it either 7:16 or 7:23 at night, or yeah, because it's my numbers and I'm goofy like that. And I was just feeling it. And I was like, this feels so good, but how do I honor my soul yum while honoring their soul yum and this container? And so I posted without kind of saying what we were launching. I was sort of like vague about it because that felt like a good compromise. And I messaged them, and then Christopher just picked it right up, posted, launched, and I was like, yes. And we talked about it the next day. I said, you guys, I just want to say, like, I want to speak to this, that I felt like I was going to get in trouble, and I felt really, you know, it feels vulnerable talking about this. And it was such a huge piece of, I'm learning through this. I get to show up and actually be who I be with other people who don't fucking reject me, who love me, who appreciate me. And this is huge. So I'm going to just leave that, because that was like so amazing and such an incredible part of what's the healing and the yum that's already coming out of this.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna wrap within the next 10 minutes or so. We're gonna be committed to keeping these, you know, under an hour. Typically, we'll shoot for, you know, close to 40 minutes plus or minus. We're gonna go with the flow, but we want to make it a manageable amount of time. There's some other things I would love to share about what you can expect from this show and this experience. One, full spectrum expression. So rather than like, you know, just before it, I'm like, I'm fucking pissed off. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hi, guys. Having a good day. How about you? Right? So if I'm pissed, like, we're going to have full spectrum expression. If we're angry, we're angry. If we're having a rough day, you're going to see us having a rough day. If we're on top of the world, somewhere in between, wherever we're at, our intention is to bring that to you. You know, if we have, you know, baby needs help, Megan's going to step away with the baby. Like, this is going to be a real world, very, very raw, and we're going to be on our cutting edge of authenticity, right? How can we bring all of us, not just proclaim it, but just keep checking in with ourselves and see, are we doing what we say we're doing, and can we continue to do this? So expect full spectrum expression where we talk about anything and everything. Anger's not off, you know, out of bounds. There's, you know, everything's sacred here, but nothing's sacred. We're going to take that approach that nothing. We'll talk about sex. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about whatever we feel is going to serve us and the world, and we're going to be all of us in the midst of that conversation to the best of our ability, and continue to expand into our authentic expression. So along with this, we're going to do these lives, but we also plan to convert these over to be, this will be a podcast and a YouTube channel, and all that's going to work together. So stay tuned for that. We'll kind of guide you along with the logistics as we move forward. we're also going to have some fun things. Like we'll have live performers on to play music for us. And sometimes we'll share, if we find a freaking awesome video that we think would really edify us and you, we'll share that in the midst of the broadcast. Or, if we have certain guests, one specific thing that Diana brings to the table is she is an author or a writer and contributor for the Huffington Post, which is a freaking awesome value add for us and for you and for everybody, because as we have powerful guests on, we're going to have the opportunity to extend an offer to those guests to get that exposure and have articles written on Huffington Post. So that's going to be tremendous value for all of us. Diana, thank you for bringing that. Is there anything you want to say about that before I move on to some of the other things?
I think you pretty much covered it. It sounds amazing. And I put some shout outs to people on my page, and I'll just mention that here. If you feel like that you fit the bill of what Christopher has been talking about, right? You've mentioned a few times just the level and the consciousness and the playfulness and the edginess of what we're wanting to seed here, and you want to be on the podcast show in an article, do reach out. And also, I want to know who you guys want to see featured, right? That's the other piece. So please let us know in the comments who you are just so yumming to hear from. Yumming. It's like becoming now who's your soul yum that you want to hear from. That
yes.
You want to feature, that you want us to play with, that, because that's what feels so yummy to me, is seeing the more playful, edgy side of people that you might not see it from, right? Because that's the container we're creating here. And yeah,
we're going to be sure to ask questions to those guests that aren't just like, teach us about the law of attraction. We're going to be like, okay, so you got this awesome book, but tell us, what's your learning edge right now? What are you struggling with, or what are you creating? What are you most passionate about? So you're going to see the real side. We're going to really be focusing on bringing out their realness and authenticity and their cutting edge as well, so that you get that experience on top of it all. So along those lines as well, the people, Diana said, who do you want to be on the show? So some of the things we're looking for and the people you suggest, we want people that are deeply integrated, right? Not just people saying it, people that have really integrated this as a way of being. It's not just a thought or something they think's cool. It's something they've been practicing and integrating for years. So it's a very natural extension of who they are. We want people that actually inspire us, that we're, again, conversing up, that we're like, holy shit, we get to have them on, awesome. We want them to be humble yet confident. We want them to have cutting edge views and have, ideally, be influencers. We want to help spread the word. Ideally, the more people we can reach and the more we can just come together and work together rather than competitive, collaborative, then we can just make a much bigger impact for all of us. And then we want them to have deep experience. So, and then topic-wise, we're going to cover everything from food and health, chronic illness, how to discover your genius and live a life of absolute yes, so yum, how to be in ease and flow, the shadow work, and there's so much in consciousness that's like this repackaged old school stuff that's like spiritual bypassing and pretending and putting frosting over the top of something really gross and calling it cake and knowing that that's not it, right? So we want to, anyway, so spiritual science, how to live goddess style, how to live in create passion-based business and heart-centered business, money and sex and just everything, anything that's relevant, that's going to help each of you have that soul yum life, no holds barred. We're just going to cover it all, and we're going to be with amazing people, have amazing guests, and give you all of us and bring out the best in them and show up consistently. And we also want to set an example that, 3 days a week, right? Why not set a life and design a life where you work, say, 6 hours a day, 3 days a week, and spend the rest of the time being in full balance and alignment with your spirit and your relationship and yourself and your health and your body, why not give up the whole need to struggle, to work hard and have hustle and grit and grind 24/7 and start working from the heart in a smart way and doing what we love in aligned with our passion and purpose in such a way that it provides so much value in a structured and such an intelligent way that we have plenty, but we also have plenty of time and energy to fuel ourselves and be in that ease and flow and that connective state. One of the biggest problems in the world right now is addiction to sex, drugs, alcohol, all kinds of other stuff. And we know that connection is a primary root that will solve that. And so from that place, how much connection can we create with ourselves, with our maker, with our loved ones, so that we're successful as parents and lovers and as humans and as spirits and as whatever else is involved. And so how can we set that up? Set up that soul yum life to work less, play more, connect more, have tribe, have community, have connection, have fun, and truly provide value and have that fulfillment of that contribution versus that slave mentality of go, go, go 24/7. So we had talked about, I want to hear from these ladies as we get close to wrapping up. We had talked about actually educating and empowering on how to discover your soul yum, right? And how to discover moment to moment what that means. Like basically there's a tool, when we're navigating, we use a compass, not so much these days, or we just use our navigation system, but the navigation system uses a compass to know true north, right? And most of us are making decisions based on what we should do, or what society says we should do, or what our parents said we should do, or what we've been conditioned to believe about how life works. And so the real base foundation of this soul yum lifestyle is having that compass that lets you check in moment to moment and see, is this a full body yes, yes or no? And if it's a full body yes, move forward, even if you don't know how, even if you're scared, even if people are going to judge you, even if whatever. That when you feel that yes, that whole body yes, that you move, and you move in that direction without question, and the how-tos will expose themselves as you move forward. So that's our intention. That's what we're up to. We're going to do a training on that. It's not going to be on this show. We'll let you know when that's coming. Stay tuned. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be fun, and it will change your life as you adopt a commitment. And I invite all of you right now, just check in your hearts and in your minds and your bodies and just ask yourself, am I willing to create a life that is 100% soul yum? Am I willing to create a life and a lifestyle that has me living in the soul yum all the time? Right? The whole upper limits problem being the number one problem in the world is how much love and joy and positive energy can I handle, and can I extend the amounts of times that I can handle that? And that's what we're up to here. We're going to teach you the tools. We're going to share the insights. You're just going to be a part of the conversation with us. And soon we're going to be sharing the insights about how to identify moment to moment your soul yum, so that you can start making those choices that all add up to in the end, that's what's determining whether your life is soul yum or not, is those choices moment to moment to moment. And having this tool is the tool that allows you to do that. So ladies, one last thing. So we see ourselves as a butterfly. Like I'm like the centerpiece of the butterfly, and these ladies right here are the wings. We're doing this goddess style because all that grit and masculine shit, screw that. Like we'll bring some structure to it, and I'll help with that. And these ladies are great at that too. But we're going to flow, and we're going to do it in a beautiful way.
Woo! I'm loving it. It's feeling soul yummy to go a little past 11, even though we're going to keep it to an hour, because this is so poppin', and that's cool with you guys.
I'm good, yes.
A few more minutes. We still got, I see 33 live eyes, which that means that's new people popping on. Because
yes.
already like 500, 600, 700 views, which is so freaking cool. And that's my Christ consciousness beautiful number, which we'll be talking about too, that is not religious. And But so as you're talking, Christopher, I got this total soul yum that dropped in. I want to share you guys, this is what happens when we're in play and creativity and flow. This is how I rock and roll. This is how my genius ideas come in. And so as you were talking about this training, I'm like, well, we're going to ask every guest, what's your soul yum? And that's part of how you tune into every show. You're going to get to hear what everybody's soul yum is, and that's going to really start to seed it. And I would love for everyone to leave in the comments what your soul yum is. And then that's going to also inform like this idea of doing this training on it, right? Because we're going to share what you talked about, right? How to find your compass and all of that. And I'm so excited to have, I see like putting together a PDF yumminess, it's like, or even an article that has all these people that are on our show and like just answering the question, like, what is your soul yum? So that's what just popped in. And I love when these ideas come and I act on them quick. And that's just to piggyback on what you were saying. It's like, yes, when you get an idea, move on it. That is why we're all sitting here right now, right? It's start before you're ready, leap before you're ready, as long as it's aligned, right? If you're going to jump off a cliff, make sure you have wings and you can legit fly, right? We do live in gravity. And also don't let that shit limit you, right? It's like not living in the, like, this is the way, that we create our own rule sets, and there's collective rule sets. So kind of how do we navigate this? This is like another topic. And yeah, I know next Tuesday, we are going to be doing another one just with the three of us, but we have a guest tomorrow. We have 2 guests scheduled next week. Yeah, I'm filling our calendars.
That's awesome guests too.
Yeah. And awesome edgy topics that are like, how do we bring play to stuff that people don't even ever want to talk about? So I'll leave it at that. And people can tune in tomorrow. I'm not even going to give a spoiler. So take it away, Megan.
Oh, girl, you just nailed it. I was thinking the same thing. We're like vibing the same. Yeah, and I do. Like, I want to hear what your soul yum is that just really lights you up. And I look forward to even to more, like knowing what those passion-based projects, those things that you're creating through your soul yum, and yeah, just playing together.
Okay, wait. Awesome. This is a great comment. Can we touch on this before we end?
Yeah.
Lorna, this sounds so amazing. I'm going to just add so amazing. I love it. Okay, can you tell me what the energetic story of the F-bomb is? I am told there is a whole story. I don't get it. It feels like my soft spot of my heart is kicked when I hear it. I really want to know. Yes, thank you. You guys want to take this one? Because this is, I'm so glad you brought that up, especially, right? Like, we're talking about conscious language and like all this stuff, and we're saying fuck. Right? So do you guys want to speak to that a little bit, and then we'll wrap, because that feels like really juicy and really important.
Do you want to lead out at all, Diana, or no?
No.
Okay. So for me, there's several things going on here. When I embraced only, so at first I grew up as this kind of play by the rules, be a good boy Christian, and then later grew into this kind of new age hippie woo-woo super soft dude. And I was this kind of farm boy construction dude first, and then I become this super soft healer, meditator, yoga dude, and then all of that. And then now I've been done the pendulum swing, and I'm attempting to land in and somewhere in here and ebb and flow in this place of the grit with the flow and the feminine easefulness, right? So there's the ability to be both strong. So like with my kids, I don't want to protect my kid from all the things that happen in existence. I do want to protect them, but I don't want to isolate them in such a way that they're not empowered to handle the reality of some of the harshness of the world. So can we maintain that soft spot and also have that ability to be very strong in the face of the intensity? So the reason why I choose, like when I'm with people that it's not my platform, I'm at a party or a family event or a church gathering, I don't swear. I don't choose to use the words that people call swear words, right? People have decided to call those swear words, and they they assume that it's very much like a right or a wrong thing. And so it's two things. One, typical Christianity, Christian culture has talked against this. And two, social culture, which is actually vastly influenced by Christian culture, talks against these things. If you listen to Tony Robbins or any other major influencer like that, they very specifically say these words as pattern interrupts. I very specifically use these. One, I speak this way in my normal life because I don't have the story and judgment and belief that it's bad, that it's negative, that it's wrong, that it's this thing. I just don't have that belief. I've tried it on, I've tested it, I've felt into it, and it's not a habit of like I'm sloppy and lazy about it. It's a choice. I choose to use these words. They have power. They have passion. They have versatility. They move people, right? And so I specifically, consciously choose to use these words. They also filter out people that are very in a place of like, this is right and this is wrong, and if you don't do it this way, you're bad, whatever. So people that are in this mentality, I just assume not be having those conversations anymore. I want to be having conversations of love and integrity. I want to be having conversations that aren't just us as big kids having, still trying to be good boys and girls. I want to have empowered conversations about who we are and where we're going and how this works. So why would I choose to use an F-bomb? It moves people. It moves energy. It helps me move energy within me and channel frustration and clear it out. It helps be a pattern interrupt for the listener. Let's see, looks like we lost Megan. Not sure what happened there. So I find tremendous power in the word and in those words, and I consciously, not unconsciously, some people will say, well, that's just a sign. If you swear, you're uneducated. And I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting judgment and story, right? If you swear, that's negative and wrong. Okay, that's an interesting story. Yes, there's deep programming socially and religiously and psychologically and on many, many levels about these things. And I would just challenge you to say, okay, what stories and beliefs do I have about those words? And can I get myself in such a place that, because the bottom line is, what is people are going to use those words, right? People are going to use those words. So if they're going to use those words, do you want to continue living a life where every time someone chooses to use that word, that it kicks you in the heart? Or can you be in a space that your love is emanating so strong and so bright, whether you choose to use the word or not? If you chose never to use the word, I'd be like, awesome, love it. Don't expect it to. Did you computer die?
Yeah, I'm up here. Here we are.
Yeah, I love it.
So if you choose not to use the word, awesome. I definitely choose to use the word and will continue to do so. And I find it to be very powerful and very effective in many, many ways. And I actually believe there's many limiting beliefs and stories that we tend to have that hold us back. And one of the ways to break through those is to embrace things like this and see what we can do to love those places within us around it. And see where's the root of that. You might feel like, maybe there was strict rules about that word when you were young. And so when you use it, you feel like a bad girl or something like that. So that's my take. Diana, Megan, anything else you would add?
Yeah, totally. So I love everything you said. And I was like, boom, when you said the pattern interrupt, because that is something that, it's a pattern interrupt, right? It gets you to pause, and then there's an opportunity for you to actually make a different choice. And I dropped, thanks for showing it now. So I dropped an article I wrote. It's called If My Fucks Offend You. I wrote it, I published it on HuffPost after I published it on this Truth Alchemist blog I wrote. And it was a post I did on Facebook that got a lot of traction. And essentially I had used the word fucking gorgeous and something around my tears in this beautiful, vulnerable post. And someone was like, do you have to swear? And I actually said, yeah, I do. And I was like, and here's why. And so I ended up writing a whole post on it that turned into this article. And for me, it's like I said, look, I do not say F you And that is my choice, because that to me is using it as a weapon. And I use it as an emphasis and as a playful, because like, fuck, hey, ooh, they can be sexy, right? Sexy as fuck. And I like that we can use it to be playful and to lighten the F up. And I also, like you, Christopher, I'm like, hey, if it's not your jam, if it's not your soul yum, don't use it. And it totally weeds out, because I've had the same thing. People that are like, but then you're not educated. I'm like, oh, but I am educated. I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in counseling psychology, and I'm legitimately a licensed psychotherapist in California. You can go check the BBS. So, and as far as I know, they're not delicensing me or taking away my degrees because I say the F word. So if anything, it becomes a way to, like, for me to lighten the fuck up, to not be so in my seriousness, because I can get real kind of serious. And so this playfulness for me, fuck becomes playful. And it's expansive. And it also does clear out kind of the prissy, like there was, and I get that some people it's just not for them, but I've had like a prissy, like, ooh, oh, and like someone kept dropping this shamey, shitty baby meme that was a shush. It was like, shh, don't say the F word. And I was like, don't shush me. Like, I'm cool if you don't want to hear it, but like, I can say what I want to say. And that is the underlying piece, is I'm here to help you and others step into their authentic expression, whatever that looks like. So for me, it's super authentic and it's playful. And again, I was a nanny for 17 years. I never swore. And I do not have a potty mouth everywhere. I'm very clear where it feels aligned for me and where it doesn't. And so my truth is always what's in alignment. And sometimes it's more in alignment to really respect that this isn't going to land if I go into someone else's arena. And I'm totally cool with that. But it's using my discernment around that. And that in my arena, in our arena here, we get to set the tone. And the tone is not say the F word willy-nilly. I never use that word either. But use it, it feels aligned, that it's like a permission slip to be who you are and be. And that it's way more important to the intention behind what you're saying and the tone and the love that's pouring through you. Even I've loosened up around the should, you guys, right? Even of like, sometimes should can come from love. Like, you should probably, not jump off that cliff if you don't want to die. I can get on board with that. That kind of does give someone a choice. Hey, if you jump off the cliff, you're going to die. So I get where we can get kind of nuanced, but I hope that kind of clears it up from my perspective, that for me, it's soul yummy. It really can be. And then other times it's soul yucky, and people can use it as a total weapon. So I really honor that it is triggering. And I love what Christopher said of like, tune in and just notice that part of you, that where you feel it, because that's where the answers lie. That whenever we're triggered by something, it doesn't mean something isn't, let's say, abusive in our life, but we get to own our trigger. It's like, you have a button that's yours to deal with, because if you don't have a button, no one can push it. And it still doesn't mean people aren't assholes, that they're not abusive. Like, these aren't mutually exclusive, but that you always have an opportunity to say, how is this happening for me, right? So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Lorna. And I love that you accepted the challenge to just look into it and see if you can, like Diana said, basically remove that button, right? So maybe get to the source of why, what's behind it that has it feel that way for you. Can you remove that button? Even if you choose not to use it, even if you still don't love the word, can you at least remove the button so that it doesn't have a negative impact on you? And I really appreciate your openness, one, to bring up the question, and two, to look at it within you and see what can you do for yourself around that. So thank you. Really appreciate that. I feel like we're pretty much there. You guys feel like we're there?
Yeah. Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, everyone. This is so yummy. Love it. Love the vulnerability. I love the free flow. This is great. I love that we went over almost 15 minutes. Rock and roll. We will be staying on time when we have guests, that's for sure.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Diana. Talk soon.